Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Marcus Fetherston, Chief Product Officer at PropTradeTech, who will moderate the session Navigating Prop Trading today and tomorrow, and he will introduce his panel.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for coming. I think it's going to be a really, really good discussion. Prop trading is a pretty hot topic right now. I experienced, some considerable growth over the last few years, and I think it's really good to do a panel on it with some great guests. And excited to see what we can talk about. So just to start, probably good to go around and everyone introduce themselves.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. I'm Andreas. I'm head of the customer support team for the Trading Pit, a multi-asset prop trading firm that's been around for just under 2 years now. And I've had the honor of being with the team for the past 17 months. So I've seen the whole journey pretty much, the ups and downs. Everything from product development to the website, marketing, the emailing funnels, customer support, risk management, a huge one. So yeah, hopefully my insight can bring some value to the conversation today.
Sure. Hi everyone. Is it working? Yeah. Okay. I'm David Kimberley, and I run CFDs Weekly, which is a sort of small website that covers mainly the FX CFD industry, but I suppose the retail trading industry as a whole. So that's me.
Hi everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm the head of growth at Spotware Systems. I've been in the industry for the last 12, 13 years. I've witnessed most of the changes that happened in the industry. And recently I joined Spotware. So I'm shifting from B2C to B2B. So far it's going great, and I'm looking forward to sharing my insights.
Hello everyone, my name is Otakar. I'm CEO in FTMO. I'm proud to say that we are probably the company who's founded the entire industry, and it is great to see that we are getting nowadays some attention from exhibit events such as this one. So it is finally becoming official after many years in the industry.
Fantastic. So we can dive straight into the talking points, and I think even prefacing this, the growth that this industry has seen from even when you started FTMO has been massive over the last few years, and it's become quite a popular product among retail traders. So the first question I have, and I think many people are thinking, is why? What is it about the prop trading product that appeals to many retail traders over, say, a traditional brokerage account?
Yeah, I can go first.
Sure.
There's 2 points I'd like to stand on here. One is that you get access to greater amounts of capital with less initial funds required to begin with. And a quick example for that would be if you had like $200 per se, and you went to a brokerage and you opened an account. In order to make that initial investment worth it, you'd have to take huge amounts of risk, right? Because no one's going to walk away with a 10% return on a $200 account. So
they can try, but it might not. It might not end well.
You wouldn't stop. So, what the prop trading space is offering right now is for the same $200, let's say, if you come through, at least I can talk for the Trading Pit. We offer a 20K demo account, which you have to go through the valuation stage first to prove that you've got what it takes and you've got a good strategy in place. So we ask for 10%, and then after that you get into the earning account, where for the next 10% you get paid out your profit share. And if you multiply the numbers with a 20K account, and you make 10% on that is 2K. So split that into 70-30, which is the profit share that we give, then you walk away with 1.4K, in regards to the $20 that you walk away with if you had your $200 in a brokerage firm. So yeah, getting access to greater amount of capital, that's one. And the second point I think that many traders like and have taken this shift is the community vibe to it, that there's a lot more going around, people like sharing their payouts they get, their achievements, let's say, and people are cheering for each other, something that I didn't really see from the broker space, and it's really nice to see, actually.
Yeah, it's a great point. I feel that, it is very much, promotes sharing and promotes community a lot more than a traditional brokerage service. Things like telegrams and discords of these prop firms operating and, being a lot more community driven is definitely an interesting part of it. But continuing on the main question of, why this popularity and, surge in, traders using prop firms, David, what are your thoughts?
I think there's two components to it, and you've touched on one, right, which is, if you deposit $1,000 or pounds into a brokerage account, you're basically going to have to max out your leverage and then get Peter Lynch levels of returns for 10 years before you can actually start seeing a meaningful return on your money. So I think that's one component of it. And I think on the brokerage side, right, it's just, I think there's a lot of people maybe are struggling because of, particularly I think after ESMA regulations, and I think these companies are saying, okay, well, this is maybe an easier market to go into, so I think that's another facet of it. And I think just anecdotally, I see a lot, I think if you look at the client base of these companies, it seems to be, say, like under 30 a lot of the time. So younger people, they're on stuff like you mentioned, like Discord or Telegram. And I think there's some skepticism about the brokerage industry among that group, just for whatever reason. And I think that might be feeding into it as well.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and I think that's what I found interesting about it at first, whereas a lot of brokers are maybe a bit cagey about sharing how they operate and the system and everything like that. I always thought it was really interesting with prop firms how they are very transparent or, aim to sort of share how they operate with their communities, whereas historically brokers, kind of are a bit shut off from doing that. And I think that's a very interesting part of it. And we might touch on that again later. But moving on to Andrew, and I think, coming at it from a platform perspective, I'm really interested to hear, your side of why you think this is, increased in popularity.
Right, and do you want the Spotware answer or do you want my answer?
A bit of both, to be honest. Mostly yours.
All right, okay. Now, first of all, it's a new product. Okay, we can all agree it's new. It's been advertised more. Okay, prop trading exists for the last, 30 years, 40 years. It was big in the US. Yeah, big companies allowed, they wanted to share an opportunity with traders. And now it's getting a lot of attention, okay? We all know that the risk when you're trading CFDs as a trader, old-fashioned or the standard way, let's say, it involves a lot of money, high amounts. Okay, so the risk factor with prop trading is much lower. The reward, again, it's bigger, because you're trading the company's funds. As long as that company can prove that it has the funds to fund you, then So it's a new thing. It's being advertised a lot. So advertisement brings huge benefit to it, or a huge fault, let's say. But it's a new thing. The risk factor is much lower, and people want to try it out. How long is it going to last, though, under the current form or shape, is to be discussed, and that's why we're here today.
And I think we definitely will discuss it within the next few questions. So Otakar, I think obviously you've seen the growth from day dot of not just FTMO, but really this whole sort of new take on prop trading. So from your perspective, it's probably the most seasoned of any of us here on the actual niche side of this prop space. Why have we seen this growth, or what's the appeal to traders of it?
Basically, we started because we needed this product from ourselves. Because in 2012, me and Marek, we were trading our own account. We had as a students 5K, 6K account, and even though if we do quite well, it's you cannot do it for a living. So we thought, okay, that we also discovered one company in the US which did the same, but in a different market and just for a smaller number of people. So we decided, okay, it's a good idea. Maybe we can do it also for CFD, Forex industry, and we didn't expect that it can grow like this, because we thought that we were going to have 10, 20 traders, maybe it's going to have 10 employees, but suddenly after, let's say, 4 years in the business, it has become very, successful, but it's not overnight success at all, because we started in 2013, 2 years we were building the product, and then for 4 years, no one was interested in a company in the Czech Republic. That changed in 2018-19. But people are using FTMO, I would say, or other companies because it's giving them opportunity to do what they love. And also, we have always very focused on the, we know that trading is immensely difficult. It's absolutely not easy to do it. And 90% people don't pass successfully the evaluations. It's no secret. So we have always focused on everyone, that even they join FTMO, they pay for the evaluation course. Still, there should be many added values, analytic applications, account analysis, I don't know, many other things which traders can use to their benefit, because since the day one, we were quite afraid that our clients might be angry if they do not pass it. But luckily, they appreciated the service since the beginning.
Fantastic. Definitely a good perspective to see from day dot in this space. And I think with the growth of the number of traders using prop firms over the last more so 12 to 24 months, we've seen a growth in actual prop firms themselves. A lot of new ones coming on the space, a lot of fast growth in that area of it as well. So I guess my next point would be, what advice would you give to new entrants into this space, or what do you think are the biggest barriers that people need to overcome when starting a prop firm from scratch?
Giving advice to potential competitors, nice.
Yeah, I'm putting a few of you in a hard place here. That was intentional, but...
Well, again, we haven't had maybe the experience of FTMO in the space until now, but what we've seen in the past 2 years that we've been in the space is you have to make sure that your website is pretty clear when it comes to what you offer, how you do it, because although it's been around for like 8 years now, 10 years, people are still confused coming to the space, and especially following up from some like recent events, people don't have as much trust into what prop trading firms are doing now. So I'd say make sure it's visible who you are, where you are, what you do, how you do it, just so they can trust you more. Make sure that your customer experience, either from customer support sides or like the FAQs you put up, the information you put out there, is as descriptive as possible. And yeah, get some good risk management in place, because if you try to have a competitive offering and you don't actually manage the risk behind it, then you're just going to get into the market, and when you have to start working with traders that actually make profits and you want to partner with them, you're going to find an imbalanced situation. So yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. David, your take on the growth in prop firms and, barriers or advice you'd give to someone starting one?
I mean, one of the things we've touched on, right, is that it's really exploded in the past couple of years, and I think the fact that Rome is pretty much full is probably a sign that there's lots of people that are also interested in starting one. And I think the difference is that you now see a lot of players who are from the FX, CFD space historically, like you saw Axie, I think, 2 days ago setting up something like this, who are now moving into the sector. And I think on the positive side, I think they bring probably better corporate governance with them. I think we saw with MFF how just unbelievably bad a lot, and just in general, like some of the companies I've seen, it's like unbelievable the stuff they're doing in terms of literally just registering a company and then saying it's a prop firm, but no regulation, nothing. So I think that's one facet, or positive facet, that I think maybe new entrants will bring. I think the interesting thing from my point of view is that it's clear a lot of people who are, say, used to setting up a broker, you get like an MT4 license or whatever it is, are not quite equipped to do it. So, whether it's like, how do you set up the challenge initially, how do you kind of program that into whatever you need for your clients. So I think that is an area that's probably, that seems like a tricky point for new entrants. But, obviously a company like yours.
Yeah. I'm just moderating. I have no opinions on the matter. No, but it is an interesting point, because obviously when we consult in bringing on new prop firms or starting prop firms from scratch, we do talk to people on both sides of the equation. We speak to people that are classic CFD brokers. We also speak to people that are more on the affiliate acquisition side of existing props already. And it is an interesting disconnect in that brokers, as you've said, they have the regulatory dealing liquidity knowledge. But don't understand there's a bit of a different acquisition path in this space. It's a much younger audience. It's very community driven, different forms of advertising. So it's kind of not necessarily in their ballpark or as easy as it might seem. And vice versa, you then talk to a lot of the, e-commerce influencer types and, who are great at the acquisition, but trying to explain to them how a brokerage side of it works. And, it goes over their head a lot of the time. So it's an interesting disconnect, but I think you've touched on a really good point that is becoming quite obvious, which is a lot more brokers. And I think by the fact that, we're hosting this panel here at this event, a lot more brokers are becoming, interested in it in general, and they're going to bring a sort of a different take to it. I might just skip over for a moment, because I'm actually keen to hear what Otakar's thoughts are on more traditional brokers are, entering this, space that he essentially, helped build. And, what are your thoughts on that? And, how does it,
You want my advice for other, also for the...
Yeah, no, well, I mean, yeah, we can touch on that point too, but I was also curious as to, your thoughts on brokers entering the prop space.
My point of view, I would say that, guys, please don't be stupid, because I don't mean it like don't do competitors too. Don't compete to FTMO, but it's a very, very fragile industry, because there is no, let's say, guidelines or regulation which shall you follow currently, and it makes it very, very fragile. So if we can speak about what happened in the beginning of the September, and then many other companies are posting videos. Hey guys, hey, okay, MFF traders, come here because we are regulated in XYZ. So we are headquartered.
Regulated?
No, sorry. We are headquartered, let's say, I don't know, in Dubai or any other country. I mean, no, it's kind of, I would say, not very wise idea, because even though you are in any other jurisdiction, a regulator can come to you. So please, just try to do your best with advertisement. Don't mislead the clients, because everyone can be affected. It's a very fragile industry when it comes to banks, payment providers, platform providers, and so on.
Really good points, for sure. I think, protecting the industry as it grows is, becomes harder with some of the people who always come in on these huge growth waves, when the quick money's there. But sustaining it for the long term is definitely a very high priority for everyone involved. Andrew, on your points, I guess, or what are your thoughts on, I guess, new entrants to the prop space? What should they be thinking about, or even brokers or people here today interested in, starting a prop firm? What are your words of wisdom or warnings for it?
Right. Well, first of all, we all know that running a prop trading firm is not a secret formula to get rich. Like trading is not a secret formula to get rich. Okay. I'm a bit, let's say, older in the industry. I've been here for over a decade. I saw the transformations. Let's try and remember what happened with the NFTs. Yeah. Don't take it as a hype. It's not a hype. Yeah. It's very fragile. It's a very fragile industry. It might blow up. It might implode, if you may. Now, from my point of view, I see this new prop trading, let's say, habit, consists from semi-professionals, people that have a basic understanding on how trading works, on how to make money, and professionals. Okay. Now, regulation is not there yet. Probably it's going to take another, 6, 12, 18 months until we're going to start seeing some form of regulation. And we also, what happened when semi-professionals decided to go and build something to go and see the Titanic. Okay? And we wouldn't like to see this happening to this industry. From my point of view, I would like to see brokerages taking action, brokerages, already existing CFD brokers, offering an extra service. Yeah, like they offer copy trading, like they offer MAMs and PAMs. Yeah, offer prop trading. Why not? And then it's the broker's money, it's public, we all know. With new companies, it's difficult to do due diligence, it's difficult to know exactly if that company has the funds. Because at the end of the day, it all comes to the company funding the client and getting some results. So I would say migrate more towards the professional way, stay away from the amateur side or from the semi-professional side. This is my humble opinion.
And I think you've touched on what leads into our next question, which is, the elephant in the room of what's occurred over the last few weeks with a certain US Canadian-based, prop firm essentially being, investigated by the CFTC amidst, among a whole variety of things that they've done. And so I think what's front of mind for everyone, or has been in the prop space for a long time, is regulation and what is going to come. I think there are a lot of people in the space that want to play by the rules, but it's hard to when you don't know what the rules are. So what are our thoughts on regulation? What can we expect? What should the regulation be? And what do we really foresee coming? Over the next 6, 12 to 18 months, as Andrew pointed out.
Yeah, I'm no regulation expert, but when you want to set up something for the long term, and you want to set up a company that actually has some values and wants to sustain, not just a boom, like Andrew said, come through, make some quick money and go out, then not having regulation in place is actually hurting the trading pit specifically, because we're trying to be as regulatory as we can when there's no actual regulation there, so we can be ready for it. But the longer it takes for the regulators to come in, then we're just leaving money on the table. And you can see all these companies popping up overnight, offering these crazy offerings of I saw something the other day, sign up and you get 200% refund of what you initially deposited, and it's it doesn't make sense if you think about it.
That's a hook, man.
It's kind of funny with that I think, it's so much of the marketing things going on now. It's a weird, not a race to the bottom, but it's kind of interesting that I think, what we saw happen with Forex brokers over, 5, 10 longer years has happened really over 1 to 2 years in this space. And I find it funny that some of those promotions almost kind of defeat the purpose of what a prop firm isn't meant to be at heart about, testing traders. It's which I think we kind of saw with even some of the things in the CFTC filings about, my Forex funds, things like, instant funding and other items like that. It's the whole, core of what these businesses are is about testing traders' abilities to trade. And if, the difference between a good and bad trade is just, paying a bit more money for access to funds, it sort of, flies in the face of, the general idea of what these businesses are. But sorry, please continue.
Yeah, no, and I think what we'd like to see from the regulator's side is just some guidelines specifically tailored towards prop trading firms, as if what you can say, what you can't say, what you have to show on your website, what you don't have to show. Just because traders tend to invest in a company which they can trust. And if you're not regulated, then traders have in the back of their head that maybe they shouldn't waste their time and money with you. And if you have a certification from the regulator, then they will trust you more. So I don't think it's going to drive people away by making it regulated and maybe a bit more strict. It's actually going to bring more into the industry. I just hope that when they do, it just doesn't stifle up the innovation and just doesn't cramp it up. And they do it in a reasonable manner.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And David, I know you've written sort of a few articles on, potential regulations in the prop space or some different takes of people you've interviewed. So yeah, keen to get your thoughts on the state of regulation in the prop space and, what people might expect or, what we would want from it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of people that seem to assume that because something is unregulated, you can just commit fraud. And
well, you can.
And so, if you look at in some ways you could say, okay, it doesn't really need to be regulated because if you look at, say, what happened in my Forex funds, they're shut down for committing fraud. It's not like they breached some regulation, they were just lying about what they were doing. So I think if the government or the police or whoever it is kind of strict on those people and shutting them down, hopefully that will be a positive. But I would say on the regulatory side, it seems like it's very difficult to design something for it, right? Because there's, from an outsider's point of view, it feels like there's really two components to business. And the challenge side is relatively straightforward, but the second component in terms of how you structure that is it's sort of different. I think if regulation comes, it might be around that particular point. Maybe you have to actually prove that you're running a fund and stuff like that, and have some rules about how you're contracting with the person trading for you. But I think it will be interesting to see what happens. I can't say what it will be.
Yeah, it's all guessing at this point until we see some action. But I think you've highlighted something really important in this space. Is it's really two products in one. Really, it's doing this evaluation and then entering this second phase where you're essentially paid for the trading that you do. And in a way, yeah, I think how regulators will respond to it kind of is in the second part of that, which seems to be where a lot of these problems around, misleading traders and what people put in their websites has been a problem. But moving on to Andrew, I'm sure has a few opinions on the matter.
Well, I'll try and keep it short. So, the regulation on prop trading, from my point of view, I know a thing or two about regulation, especially on the FX CFD side. It shouldn't be as harsh as it is right now, okay, with FX and CFDs. But show me the proof that you do have the ability of running a fund, meaning you have the money behind you. Yeah, make it public, make it transparent. This is our pot. This is how much this company can afford to release to the market. Yeah. Then show me the proof you have at least a couple of professionals running it. Yeah, with background in investments. Yeah, they could be CFDs, FX, investments in general. But show me you got professionals. Yeah, there's one thing learning to drive from your friend. There's another thing learning to drive from a proper driving instructor. Okay, so, and then try and attach it a bit to the FX and CFDs firms. Yeah, don't make them use a different name because they open another entity. Let them run it under the same entity. It doesn't mean they cannot treat it, even if the regulation is missing a bit now. It doesn't mean they cannot treat it as a proper, FXCFD firm reporting. So monitor everything that you do. Get ready for that moment when, if anyone knocks at your door, you're ready. Yes, what do you want? Reporting, we have it. What do you want? The proof of the pot? Yes, we have it. Yes, the company is run by professionals. Then, as a regulator, what will I ask?
Definitely very good points. And I guess moving to you, Otakar, I guess you guys are probably, being the biggest prop firm in this kind of space, probably got eyes on a lot of these things, quite a bit. So very keen to hear your, I guess, position on what has happened with MyForex funds and sort of your take on what we can expect from regulation in the future.
I usually don't like to comment things I don't understand, and regulation is, let's say, a very sensitive topic. I don't know what is going to happen at all. I don't actually. My opinion is that it's going to take longer time than 6 to 12 months because you have so many regulators. They don't understand our business because it is quite new, even though FTMO has been here for 10 years. Still, it is getting attention past 3 years. We have been in discussions with the regulators for several years now, and honestly, I don't know if any regulation is coming. I would appreciate more if the prop firms are not misleading their clients in the advertisement, on the website, and so on. But I don't know what's going to happen with the regulation.
Okay, it's I think it's very clear. It's something that I think everyone wants to know more about, but we just don't have a timeline or any sort of general expectation of it. So most people will be playing by ear. But I think the general sort of consensus here among us is that everyone should just act in the best interest of clients, which seems like common sense to me. But obviously, when we see these growth curves, a lot of quick money to be made, we see bad actors. As we've seen in the last month come out. I did have more questions. However, given the attendance in the room, I was thinking it might be good to move over to a Q&A if there's anyone in the audience that had any questions that they wanted to ask.
Yes, I have a question.
Nicola.
The position of the trading platform providers in front of, let's say, this new business. Let's say, what is the perception? I mean, you represent one. Unfortunately, there is no MetaPods, which is one of the biggest players. It will be interesting to see what is their approach, let's say, in this new business.
Very good question, and thank you for that, Nicola. So now on behalf of Spotware and cTrader, we welcome prop trading firms, but we're very careful. Yeah, we're still being selective. And one of the problems is a lot of prop trading firms use US clients, okay? We know how that works, yes, so we try to keep away from any potential risk that might be on the plan. We are still on the App Store. We like being on the App Store. We're gonna be there for a very long time. So yes, although we welcome prop trading firms, we are being very selective. Okay, we have a strong KYC process. So if they qualify, then yeah, by all means, why not? Business is business. But in the same time, we're trying to protect the company's reputation and the people. Yeah, the average person that wants to trade. Okay, we have the people in this industry, in the financial industry and tech providers and everything. We also have this responsibility of trying to protect the end users and the people. Yeah, so this is what we're trying to do. We welcome you, but we're trying to be very selective on. We analyze the risk factors. Yeah, and this is it basically. This is it. We just want everyone to do well, but using the right tools.
Fantastic. I'm not sure if anyone else had anything to sort of add to that on the platform side. If not, happy to throw it out for another question to the audience. Okay, silence. I thought.
Made up questions.
Yeah, no, but I can continue with other questions that I had as well. I think another thing that's really good about this space too, it's not just sort of a product tailored for a younger demographic as well. It is a bit of a breath of fresh air on the technology side. And I think everyone here is exposed to that sort of in different ways, whether it's having more educational content, these different kind of, client portals, the amount of, I think, data analysis that has to go into that, on top of the trading platform, to, give clients that analysis and move through the stages of trading. So it's definitely very technology driven, as is really any client centric business in the trading space. But what are your sort of opinions? And this goes to everyone on sort of what prop firms are going to develop with technology, or like what role technology plays in prop firms, as opposed to a traditional forex brokerage, or things we might see developed in the future.
This is a question for you normally.
Yeah, I'm turning it around for once.
Yeah. Right. So, well, what we see from our side is the risk engines that are put in place to be able to manage these accounts, to breach the account, pass the account, make sure it's done in the right manner. Because when someone has like a huge position in the market and it's liquid and it goes up and down, then you have to be precise of where you close the account or where you pass the account, and then provide the relevant information to the client so he can know why it happened. And that's a big issue right now. And I think having the analytics behind it to be able to see enough on the trader and his behavior when he trades to know whether or not you want to actually be with this trader in the long run, to partner with him. These are just the two main points I've experienced.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting point, around building this tech and what it requires. I think, and brokers might experience this when they do move into the space, is that, it does work a bit differently to a traditional Forex CRM. Sort of that data layer and all the analysis that you have to do of the underlying traders and everything you just discussed, actually ends up being a bit harder to build. So I'm interested to see how more tech solutions for that, whether broker made or third party, how that really develops over the coming months. But regardless, definitely good points. David?
I would kind of respond, but also sort of follow up maybe to your question, which is I think part of the reason I think this is growing so much is that you have a lot of people that maybe are affiliates or IBs or something like that, and the cost, from what I understand, to set up is quite low, right? Because a lot of it is just on a demo account. There's no LPs and things like that in the same way. And so I think you can definitely see that some of those guys are somehow using MetaQuotes, I guess like a grey label or a white label or something like that. And so I'm interested to see what will happen in that respect, right? Because we all know what's happened in the past 12, 18 months with that company, and I don't know, I don't get the impression that would make them very happy. But I don't know.
Definitely, it is a really good point, I think, in terms of, and it shows sort of the the risk of platform concentration. I do think we're going to see prop firms, over the next 6 to 12 months, which they naturally would do anyway, diversifying into, other platforms, such as cTrader, or other options out there. I know FTMO, for example, and even the Trading Peak utilized, various different platforms for, different offerings as well. So it is definitely a good point. I think a lot of people are also very curious to see how that does turn out. But yeah, I think it just goes back to, much like, diversifying when it comes to, regulatory risk, it's platform risk, and, a lot of different risks people are going to have when starting a prop firm, to be mindful of. But I very much share the same opinion of I'm keen to see how it turns out. Andrew?
Right, so we're talking about what do people want from trading platforms?
Well, I think it's what role do you see technology playing in prop firms, and, what do you see being developed, on this in the future?
Major. So now, if I'm not mistaken, one of the strategies, or the most common strategy when people are prop trading is scalping, yeah? They like to scalp.
Depends.
Right. Right. Okay, so you need fast execution. If you're trading based on fast execution, then you will have to get all the information. How can you get all the information? By having 3 screens, 4 screens, 5 screens, 6 screens, yeah? Right, what we did, we basically, and now I'm going to advertise because obviously I'm here. Right, so what we did, basically, we put all that information in one place, and that's the trading platform. Okay, you can even watch TV if you want on a small window on the trading platform. Okay, we give you all the data, yeah, from depth of market to even trading signals, yeah, not coming from us, coming from reliable third parties, and I highlight reliable, yeah, as much as I can. It doesn't mean they're all going to be successful, but yeah, when we use names like TradingView or AutoChartist, for example, we know they are, yeah, quite reliable. So yeah, they want fast execution, they want everything in one place, quick deposits and withdrawals, of course, but this is what traders always wanted. Yeah, so everything is fast-paced. Also, they like to use their mobile phones. Okay, they love mobile phones. It is very rare when you see people in front of computers, yeah, or using laptops. Yeah, everyone prefers to use a tablet or a laptop. So this is what they want. Luckily, cTrader provides it. Yeah, so feel free.
It's very lucky we have you on the panel to let us know. Yeah, and I think it's a very interesting point with prop firms because obviously the user journey is very, progressing through stages, and speed and reliable data is really important for that. So I'd say, as much as speed's important to any trader, I think that speed of getting that feedback loop of have I passed, have I failed, why, getting to the next stage and really getting to that goal of being in that live stage of trading is really important. But Otakar, I know you guys have built a lot over the years and to pretty much create your platform and everything like that. So what role does technology play for prop traders, or where do you see it going, in general or at FTMO in the future?
I would say that we had to build it because there were no technological providers. So the whole monitoring solution, the whole risk parameters, we had to build it. The good thing was that we were starting small. So when we had 3 clients or 4 clients, we just wake up at 5 a.m., we calculated everything in Excel, then put it in WordPress to the client's area, and that was it. Like nowadays, when you have more than 150,000 active accounts, you just cannot do it like that. For this reason, you have around 60 in-house developers, and it is absolutely crucial to have perfect technology. Everything is super fast, and that's maybe sometimes we are sad that we are not that flexible as other companies, but we cannot be flexible because when you have such a huge audience, you cannot risk any mistakes, so everything needs to be properly tested, so it takes time to release something. But if I'm going to speak for our IT department, I'm super happy about it. This year we received Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in the technology category. It's an award for our IT department. So I believe it is a lot about technology. And nowadays, as other guys are saying, it is a lot easier, a lot cheaper to start business such as this one. But in my point of view, we might see a decrease in number of companies which are providing those services. In my point of view, let's say even regulated brokers, because they have many clients, but they cannot control them. They cannot control their advertising, they cannot control their website, and they can be also liable for any regulatory allegations. So in my point of view, we might see sooner or later some change in this.
Definitely very good points, and I think it's there's multiple ways to go about it, but I think building your own technology from scratch gives you that level of control that's allowed FTMO to build what is the biggest product really in the space so far. We're out of time now, but this has been a great discussion. I think prop trading is I think it's a fantastic product. I think it's made a very big mark on the trading community, and I'm very interested to see how it goes from technology, regulation, new firms and everything. But I think everyone's, gave some really great perspectives and opinions on this today. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. And thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.